company do you represent?
My name is Kamaljit Rastogi and I represent Mahindra Comviva.
Excellent. Can you tell us a bit more about what you guys do?
So we are into the mobile commerce space, right? So basically enabling telecom operators, banks and retailers to launch mobility-based services for their consumers to improve the consumer engagement. Right? So typically for mobile operators, we enable mobile money and mobile wallets. For banks, also mobile banking, mobile wallets and mobile POS. And retailers are also the new segment that is getting into the space of mobile wallets. So
Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming the guest of the day, Mr. Kamaljit Rastogi sir, CEO and Executive Director, NetPaisa, a SaaS platform. We are equally delighted to welcome our Director sir, Deputy Director Placements, Deans, teachers, campus officials, and my dear friends. Thank you all for coming over to this program, 8th IBAC event of this season. May the Lord give the strength we need to negotiate our way successfully through this situation. May I now invite our Director Sir to offer his introductory address. Over to Sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamal Rastogi. On behalf of ICFI Business School and on my own behalf and on behalf of my students, I extend you a very warm welcome. It is a matter of honor for us to have you. I have gone through your CV very carefully. I must tell you, I went through your profile, and after having seen your profile, I found here is a remarkable man who should be fully presented to our students. You have not displayed your academic achievements in that profile that I had a chance to Google, but it touched me. And once again, on behalf of ICFI and all these students and all these stakeholders, I extend you a very warm welcome and look forward to a very, very useful session for all these students, faculty, and myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Kamaljit Rastogi sir is the CEO and Executive Director of NetPaisa. Prior to this, he was Global Head Business Development Mobile Financial Solutions at Mahindra Comviva. NetPaisa aggregates various financial services and provides them to 500 million people at bottom half of pyramid through a network of retailers acquired in bulk via corporate tie-ups. He has over 20 years of experience in digital payment space. Earlier, he worked with Reliance Jio Infocom, Fino Payments Bank, Orient Pro Solutions, ABN AMRO Bank, and Citibank. He has continuously worked on developing solutions and products which would enable millions to benefit from the financial services over new channels like mobiles, handheld and agent network of banks, telecom, and retail companies. He graduated from the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and obtained an MBA from the National University of Singapore, besides receiving executive training from Harvard Business School. We are delighted to have you with us today, sir.
Thank you so much. It's very, very impressive, the introduction that you put together. And once again, thank you, Director Sir. Thanks, Tanvi. Thanks, Professor Venkatraman, for coordinating with me for almost, I think, we started discussion during the pre-corona days, and then, everything happened, and now we are finally meeting. Are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So basically, I am going to share my story of the fintech industry that I have been part of, and how I think this industry will survive and thrive in the COVID world. So I started my career in 1993. Just after completing my engineering, I got a campus offer to Citibank Software. So I just went with the brand name. I didn't know much what I'm supposed to do. Yes, software, I knew it. But what kind of projects they did and all, I didn't know. I just went with the brand name and from Delhi moved to Mumbai and joined them. Within a few days of joining, I was assigned to a project, and I realized that that project was actually supposed to be developing software for Citibank Japan. So that was my first learning that, hey, here is a company based out of India who is actually building software, providing software for banks. So this technology was developed by Citibank in '93. I became part of that project. Quite happy because it was in latest technology. Then after another about 6 months on this project, I learned that there was a need to deploy this software in Citibank Singapore and Citibank Asia Pacific branches. Citibank had another company which was developing a core banking solution. So every bank, whether it's SBI, HDFC, ICICI, they have a core banking system where all the accounts are maintained. All the balances that we know, our account details are all in a core banking system. So Citibank at that time was also developing a core banking system. Its name was FlexCube. What happened is that, again, this company initially it developed the core banking for Citibank, but then it started selling the same core banking solution to banks all over the world. Today, I checked, FlexCube is the name of that software, is deployed in about 900 banks in about 145 countries. Again, an Indian developed software deployed in 145 countries. In about 2005, this product and this company of Citibank was acquired by Oracle, and the company became Oracle Financial Services based out of Mumbai today, and has been growing since then. Around the same time, Infosys also came in and they developed a core banking product called Finacle. So like ICICI Bank uses Finacle, and about 100 countries Finacle is deployed. So again, an Indian developed software used by banks globally and developed by Infosys. It's one of their very famous products. After about 5 years in Citibank, I shifted to ABN AMRO Bank, also in Singapore. I was in the cash management department all throughout. In Citi, it was mainly about technology, software. During my Citi days, I managed to do my MBA from National University of Singapore part-time during evening classes and weekends. I'm sure all of you are very familiar with that kind of lifestyle. So when I shifted to ABN AMRO, I got more into the client-facing role like pre-sales and delivery. Now here also, we wanted to roll out a cash management system, which we again bought from an Indian company. It was a Pune-based company, which we bought, we customized, and then we rolled out in the ABN AMRO Bank branches all over Asia Pacific. So what it kind of proved to me that, this is a good business model. We as Indians have a good capability to develop such solutions. Then in 2003, I moved back to India and joined a software company in Mumbai called Orion Pro Solutions. Here it was a very small company, only about 80 people at the time when I joined it. So leaving big banks, multinational banks, joining small organization was a bit of a challenge, or a bit of a family challenge that, okay, what are you doing? But I said, no, I have to do something more challenging and where I can see my contribution and my efforts more directly. So I joined a small company and I became the director of sales for Asia Pacific because I knew that market. So being based out of Mumbai, I then sold the software that Orion Pro had developed actually for ICICI Bank in India. And again, we customized it and we changed it and sold it to banks in Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand. Because of my prior experience in that geography. So what again I realized is that any bank I went to in Indonesia or Thailand, I saw Indians in their senior position, right? The number 2, 3 guy, the head of the department were Indian. So, the long legacy that Indian companies had, starting from Citibank and all, they generated a lot of people with knowledge and experience, and those people got hired by the foreign banks. And if you see today, there is a DBS Bank of Singapore. It's like the SBI of Singapore. They also have operations in India. The CEO of DBS Bank is one Mr. Piyush Gupta, right? He is also ex-Citi banker, and after a long career in Citi, he is now heading DBS Bank based out of Singapore. Moving on, work and operation. So far in Citi, ABN and Aurionpro, I was more on the corporate banking side, and Fino was more on the retail banking or bottom of the pyramid or financial inclusion. At that time in 2008, it was a very new word, but now it has become a very big theme, and even the government and Prime Minister and a lot of countries are now focused on financial inclusion. So in Fino, I was the head of products. So here, basically, we said that, okay, there are a lot of unbanked people in India. How can technology be used to bring them into the banking system? Right? In 2008, there was no Aadhaar, there was no mobile phone, they were not that prevalent. So Fino developed the entire biometric technology themselves. They developed the handheld devices themselves. Then I switched over to Jio. 2011, actually, Jio had already had the license, and I was the first employee in the payment strategy team. So Jio Money and all, I actually was part of the team which got the license for Reliance Jio Money. Again, here, since part of strategy, I did an analysis of the Indian market, both on the issuing side and on the acquiring side. And I found that the market is huge. The number of accounts we have is very less. The number of point of sale devices is very less. And how technology, how internet access can be used to fill that gap. So Jio, again, it was a great experience, and I learned how fintech can solve a lot of issues. Country called Comviva, also based in Gurgaon. Comviva specializes in providing software to the telecom world, right? So after Jio, because of my, so my background was in banking, but in Jio, I switched over to a little bit of the telco side. I in joining Comviva, which was developing financial services software for telecom companies like mobile money, mobile wallets, etc. So in Comviva, my role was more global, business development role. Here we had an Indian-built software for mobile money platform and a mobile wallet platform. We had about, I would say, maybe about 60 deployments, 60 telecom operators all over the world use it. So M-Pesa started in Kenya, and then other African countries started also copying it. Now this mobile money was not so much under the central bank guidance. It was like telecom operator who are under a different regulatory authority, like India. TRAI is the regulatory authority for telecom operators. They don't come under RBI. But in Africa, because of the speed and the need of such solutions, they managed to launch this solution. And today, I would say that maybe all countries in Africa have a mobile money platform. China also saw a lot of development. So China had two companies. One is WeChat, and one is Alibaba, right? Both of these got into also mobile money by developing WeChat Pay and Alipay. Today, I have heard, I have not seen it for myself, that nobody prefers cash in China, right? Everybody, from a fruit seller to a big mall store, everybody wants you to pay digitally, either using WeChat Pay, Alipay, or the Chinese version of their own credit card. In India, mobile money has not taken off to that extent as in China and Africa. Because I believe RBI wanted the monetary system to be under the banks. They didn't want the telecom operators to handle so much of the payments in the country, right? So RBI, even though they issued mobile money licenses to Airtel Money, etc., there were some restrictions that the product was not that successful as in Africa or China. Initially, I used to feel that, oh, okay, India is lacking behind, other countries are so much ahead. But as we have seen later, when RBI actually gave the payment bank licenses and all, we realized that it was a wise decision that RBI actually kept the control of the cash flow, the payments under its control. So anybody wanted to do payments or file money, RBI said you have to take a license from me, means you will come under my supervision. How to move forward? So what are we seeing now in the fintech space? So sachetization, I don't know if the spelling is right or wrong, but what I mean is that how shampoo sachetization happened, right? Shampoo was available in big bottles. I'm sure in your case studies you've done it. It started selling in small sachet. The sales picked up, right? Because the people said, okay, 5 rupees, I can buy it. I can't buy a 200 rupee thing. So financial services are also becoming easily accessible and in small packaging, right? So in the banking industry, from where we started, now the buzzword is digital banking, right? They are saying that, okay, no need to come to my branch for opening a bank account. No need to come to the branch to do anything, right? Everything, you please download my app. You do the KYC, video KYC or photo KYC on the app. Account will be opened on the app. You do all your transactions on the app. So that's one form of digitalization of the banking, right? It's a huge wave. There are many companies all over the world, from Germany, UK, India also. Sachin Bansal is opening a digital bank. It's a huge wave that we should see. DBS in India has launched a DigiBank. So I would like to welcome all of you to seriously consider that as a career choice. And with that, I want to thank you and open for discussions.
Fintech sooner than later. I request all to give a huge round of applause in the reaction box, please. Thank you.
I request Khyati to unmute yourself, open the video and ask the question.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I would like to ask, what is the impact of growth of fintech to our economy?
Yeah, I read a statistic somewhere which said that digital payments, if you go from cash payments to digital payments, every 10% increase in digital payments actually increases your GDP by 0.5%, right? And I've heard it many times in many conferences and read it in many places. And I believe it is also understood by a lot of government. One of the reasons for demonetization was this, that okay, if we reduce the cash in the Indian system, the tax collection will increase, black money will reduce, ultimately it will cause our GDP to decrease. So to answer your question, fintech growth directly benefits the growth of the country.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rastogi, sir, our director, sir, all my teachers and my dear friends for making it such a memorable event. Unmute yourself and give a huge round of applause to sir.
Thank you so much.
We thank Professor Rupa Rath ma'am for introducing Rastogi sir to us. On behalf of IBACSL, I wish you all a happy evening. see you all again with another great personality soon. Until then, this is the entire team of iBag Cell and Tanvi wishing you all goodbye, namaskar, sat sri akal, alvida.